the kitchen at parties. You will always find him in the kitchen at parties. You will always find him in the kitchen at parties. You will still find him in the kitchen at parties. You will still find him in the kitchen at parties.
At last I met a pretty girl, she laughed and talked with me. We both walked out of the kitchen, we asked if I knew why. And now I've done my time in the kitchen at parties. I've done my time in the kitchen at parties.
He's done his time in the kitchen at parties.
Anyway, I woke up in a very exceptional mood this morning. I don't know whether it was the alcohol that I had drunk in large volumes last night, but come to think of it, I can't even remember if I went out or not. I don't think I did. I think I watched a film. No, I didn't. I watched Formula One on TV. It was the Netflix Formula One, not the race that's on today. I'm not that stupid. Anyway, guys, I want to talk to you about a medical problem that you may have. Yes, you may have a medical problem that I know of. Diabetes type 2. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're sitting there in your chair saying, what the fuck does he know about diabetes type 2? Well, I'll tell you, because I had it. Yes, I had it. And what really made me do this video this morning is I was looking through my YouTube last night to see how many subscribers I had, and it's gone up from 3 to 3.5 because someone can't make up their mind up. And I saw all these free ads. There was one ad, 2 ads in particular. One was a water drink. This guy was legally blind, okay, and now he can see clearly because of this water drink. Now, as with all these ads, excuse me, as with all these ads, they go on and on and on, and it's always an American, isn't it? Not knocking Americans. I like Americans, but there are 1 or 2 Americans that get on these advertisements and they go on and on and on. And us Brits are sitting there saying, yeah, fucking get on with it. What is it? What is it? But they carry on, and then they say, this Nobel Prize winner invented this, and it was all these people in the labs invented this, and all these people in the different states in America have tried it, and we all got 20/20 vision and everything else. And the legal people have said, don't show this video for too long. So if you want to see it, press the blue button beneath. So I pressed the blue button, and then he went on, and what he kept saying was, watch this until the very end of the video and then you will know how to get 20/20 vision. Apparently, it was, I didn't watch it all because it bores me to tears and it pisses me off. Apparently, it was a zebrafish. But they didn't tell you how, and I don't even know how this zebrafish is supposed to cure your eyesight. Maybe you fill the bucket up with water with a zebrafish inside it, and you dip your head in it, and maybe you open your eyes, and the zebrafish maybe does something magical, and you come out of that bucket with 20/20 vision. That is absolutely amazing. And then there was another woman came on stage, and she said, I have the best job in the world. And I thought, well, fucking whoopee do for you, girl. She's a doctor. Well, most doctors are robbing bastards anyway. But this particular doctor works with obese people, and she is so lucky that she works with this particular group of people that have a bad time during life. Well, there you go. And she was on about different carbs and different fibers. It's about diabetes, yeah? Now, if you're sitting there watching this video with diabetes, forget all the shit that they tell you. Forget all the number of calories and fibers and 2+2s that you have to do and everything else, because it's all bollocks. I had diabetes type 2, and I was diagnosed with diabetes type 2, I think in 2011, when I worked in Kazakhstan for an oil company. And I, because of my age, because I'm an old bastard, I had to go to SOS clinic every year on an annual basis to get a full medical. And one particular year, and these medicals, I used to hate them because the doctor was French and he was so particular. Every time I went there, I was sort of threatened about losing my job, I think. But anyway, I had a blood test and he came back and said, your sugar is very high. And I thought, oh, here we go, fucking back to UK. So he said, I want you to come back later and drink this glass of sugary fluid. I don't know what it was, glucose, I think, or something. Drink this glass of glucose and then come back in 2 hours for another blood test. So I done that. And I drank it as quick as I could, thinking that the quicker it goes in, the quicker it comes out, but that was wrong. Anyway, I came back 2 hours later and he said, yes, you've got diabetes. So that was a bombshell. And I thought to myself, oh, well, I better start looking for another job. But anyway, that never materialised. Apparently my mother had diabetes and she was on medication for it. Now, when you're diagnosed with diabetes, don't look at it as if it's the end of the world, because it isn't. What I looked at it as a new beginning. Because I knew in Kazakhstan that where I worked, that birthdays were a big thing with all the staff. And the cakes that they used to buy were so full of sugar, I don't think they even put any flour in them. It was just sugar, sugar, sugar. It was so sweet, it was absolutely disgusting. But anyway, you had to eat it, otherwise people would talk about you, as you know. So I started to realise that I've got to change my life. And from the day I was told that I had diabetes type 2, I went and bought a blood test little thing that pricks the tip of your finger and you put it in this little tab on a machine and it tells you what it is. And I think mine was 7. I go by this MG thing, I think. Mine was 7 anyway. But from that day, I started I changed my lifestyle to the extent that I stopped drinking all sugary drinks. I stopped all sugar that I could imagine. I've stopped everything that has sugar in it. Now, that carried on for a while, and then I went to Oman after Kazakhstan working, and I lived in Cyprus, and I was taking my blood tests every day, or once or twice a week, and it was coming down to 6.5, 5.8, and I didn't do anything. I didn't take any medicines, right? All I did was reduce my intake of food. You don't have to stop eating at all. You don't have to go on these diets I went on I did go on like a Mediterranean diet, which is a lot of fresh vegetables and that. But I didn't cut out anything. I just reduced the intake. And what I did most was exercise. Now, I've always done a lot of running during my time. So I was running. But what really made me lose my weight, and I think at the time when I was diagnosed, I must have been about 104, 106 kilos. Sometimes when I went back to Cyprus and was on the piss, I came back and I was 110 kilos. Not obese, but in the BMI I was overweight. But again, the BMI I think is a load of bullshit anyway, because if you consider all the front row rugby players of, say, the All Blacks or England, they're all obese. They're all big bastards. but look how fit they are. So the BMI could say he's obese, thinking, oh, that fat bastard couldn't run anywhere. But don't think you would like him on top of you in a rugby tackle. So they're all obese. So I don't go by the BMI very much. BMIs were invented by slim bastards. Anyway, so I just exercised. The main exercise that I found that got my weight down was walking. Yes, believe it or not, walking. Walking at a reasonably fast pace. Now, after work, when I lived in Oman, or when I was working in Oman, I lived on a camp, and we had like a circuit around the accommodation. And every night, after my dinner, which was a very light dinner, a very small dinner, I used to go for a walk, and I only used to drink lemon water, pure lemon water. And over time, people made comments, "Oh, you're losing a lot of weight. You're losing a lot of weight." And every Friday lunchtime, we used to have Friday afternoons off. I used to go to the medical centre and weigh myself on their scales, and just to see how much I lost. And then I used to go to the gym on a Friday afternoon just to do some running on the treadmill and things like that. So I started losing weight. And even one big fat Indian guy, no, he was fat, he was Guy Hughes, this Indian guy, came up to me and said, "You're my inspiration." And every evening I saw him out walking, and he was losing weight. And when he went home, he told me this. He said when he went home, he told his wife, "Don't give him so much rice, cut everything down." And that's all you have to do, guys. You just have to reduce your intake. Okay? Now, as time progressed, I went back to Kazakhstan occasionally, and when I had a torn ligament in my knee. They call it a meniscus tear. I was offered keyhole surgery, but I refused because they can't say that it's a guarantee. So I thought I think I'll put up with the pain and have a worse pain. But anyway, when I was having my medical checkup with the doctor, she said, "Are you diabetic?" And it's always been a question in my mind because I've got rid of it. As far as I'm concerned, I reversed it. But what do you tell these people? And in the end, I said yes. She said, "Do you take medication?" And I said no. And then she said, "Well, you're not diabetic." Okay, I'm not diabetic then, thank you very much. But anyway, it still didn't change the pain when she stuck this needle in my knee to put fluid in it, but it helped a bit, but it didn't help very much. But anyway, when I came to the Philippines, and I've always kept no sugar in my diet. I've always kept that. Now, one thing I must warn you about, that when I was walking around sometimes in Oman, I did feel a bit lightheaded sometimes. If I let my sugar level drop too much, then I just ate a sweet or something and it was fine. You can tell yourself when your sugar level's going that low, you feel a bit lightheaded. So just have a sweet in your pocket or something. Anyway, when I came to Kazakhstan, I got a fever. A very bad fever, and I was very, very weak. And I was taken to the hospital by a friend, and I was told to go down to the test centre and have my blood tested for COVID, dengue, diabetes, everything you could think of, VD, HIV, everything you can think of. Anyway, when I got the results, that were within that same time, that same day, probably within an hour, I took it back to the doctor and he said, "You've got dengue fever." Well, in a way, I was quite glad that I found out what it was. But when it came, he read down the list, he said HIV, no, diabetes, no. I thought, I'm not diabetic. I've reversed it. I've changed it. I'm not diabetic anymore. And from I think what did I say it was? 2013 or so. I have not taken no medication for diabetes whatsoever. I have not gone on any special diet whatsoever. I have not gone on any special training regimes, running up sandhills with a HGV tyre wrapped around my neck. I have done none of that. All I have done is cut out all sugar, drinks, food, because food has got sugar in it anyway. You don't stop eating, you still eat what you like, but it's in much smaller portions. I didn't eat meat hardly, I just had salads and everything else. And I exercise by walking a fast pace. And when I mean a fast pace, it don't mean half a mile and that's it. Push yourself for about 3 miles. I try to do 3 miles, or you got to do 10,000 kilometers, 10,000 steps per day. That is the health criteria, I think. I bought myself a very, very cheap watch to log my footsteps every day, and it keeps you going. It makes you want to do more the next day, and that is it, guys. Now, I don't starve myself. Every morning, I've had a very strict regime. Every morning at 10 o'clock, I have a coffee and a Kit Kat. Yes, a Kit Kat with 4 fingers, covered in chocolate and sugar and wafers and scrumptious. I have one of them near enough every day. If not, then I have something else. But it doesn't put my sugar levels up, because you've got to have a little bit of sugar. But you don't need all these medications. You don't need these special diets. All these people that say these things, these doctors and lab technicians and gurus and fucking professors, have they ever had diabetes type 2? No, they haven't. I have, and I reversed it myself without any medication or any extra cost. In fact, it probably saved me money. So I'm telling you guys, don't listen to these fucking adverts on diabetes for an hour. Just take my advice and you will reverse it over a period of time. I'm not going to say it's going to take a week, a month, a couple of months. It may take a year and a half. But gradually, when you do your blood test, it will gradually go down and down, and it will make you feel better because you're losing weight as well and you're eating better food. But remember, what goes in there, you have to burn off. So the less that goes in there, you don't have to work so hard to burn it off. And you will lose weight and you will feel better. Get rid of the fucking Coca-Colas and the Pepsis and the Sprites and everything else. Get rid of them. You don't need them. Water, man, water. Okay, that's my whinge for today. Fuck me, it's 20 minutes. I'll try and cut it down a bit. Okay, see you later. Be good and take my advice from someone that's had it. Thank you.